paid tribute to the Purple One, his music, his style and his legacy. Welcome to the project on what is clearly a very, very sad day, and welcome back to the show, Georgie, Michelle and Lemos. Once again, you guys here?
It's a sad day, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
Sometimes you feel silly crying over a celebrity, but I have cried today over... Look at that, it's beautiful.
It is, yeah.
I've cried today.
You'd be far from the only one in that position.
Yeah.
In fact, as we go to where fans across the world are and have been paying tribute to Prince, these are pictures of a vigil in his hometown of Minneapolis that came through a short time ago. You look at the density of that crowd and you can feel the emotion coming through the screen and the joy as well, which is so clearly part of it.
Yes, a very sad day as the world mourns the death of a musical genius.
He was one of the most iconic performers the world has ever seen. He defied genre and defined a generation. It's reported Prince was found unresponsive in a lift at his Paisley Park estate. He was pronounced dead shortly after. As news broke of his death overnight, the tributes were immediate. Mick Jagger said Prince was a startling guitar player. He was one of the most unique and exciting artists of the last 30 years. President Obama said, "A strong spirit transcends rules," Prince once said, and nobody's spirit was stronger, bolder or more creative. Born Prince Rogers Nelson in 1958 in Minneapolis, he signed with Warner Music in 1977 at just 18 years old. His debut album, For You, kicked off one of the most prolific careers in music. He taught himself piano aged 7, guitar at 13 and drums at 14. Prince played almost every instrument on his first 5 albums.
Prince was a one-man show, a one-stop organisation. Everything that came out of that sound that you heard in those songs was created by that man, and that's what made him so unique.
In an almost 40-year career, he sold more than 100 million albums, won 7 Grammys, released hundreds of singles and 39 studio albums. Somewhat reclusive in his private life, his live shows were explosive.
If you know how to rock, say yeah. If you know how to party, say oh yeah.
Prince is an incredible musician. He understood music craft like not many other musicians. He was like an elite sports person.
It was his 1984 film, Purple Rain, that unleashed his unique talent on a mainstream audience. The semi-autobiographical story picking up an Oscar for Best Original Song Score. 23 years later, and this Super Bowl performance has been described as one of his most epic.
Only wanna see you. Can I play this guitar?
Prince was a revolutionary artist whose creativity seemed limitless. His influence will be felt for generations to come.
In losing Prince, we lost not only one of the greatest songwriters, performers of the last 50 years, he was the most deeply talented musician of this era, or possibly any era. It was like music just flowed out of him.
Well, Matt Thorne met Prince when he was researching his book, Prince the Man and His Music, and he joins us now. Matt, Prince was an enigmatic man. What sort of person was he?
He's a very playful man. I mean, the whole thing is that he created this persona, and that's what the public knows, and that's what you see. But behind all of that, there's a joker, somebody who enjoys having fun, who really liked to play around with expectations of him, both from his fans and his critics, and everybody who went to his concerts.
He seems to be confounding expectations. Even now, if you weren't a real fan, you may not have known, I certainly didn't know, that he's actually a deeply religious man by, later in his life. Did that have an effect on his music and his performance?
Absolutely. He became a Jehovah's Witness after meeting Larry Graham of Sly and the Family Stone, and he suggested to him, Larry Graham told him that he shouldn't swear on stage anymore, so he stopped swearing, he stopped playing some of his ruder songs like Darling Nikki. The raunchy side of him sort of disappeared in later years, but he still was interested in innuendo. He was happy to make jokes, but he just wasn't going to swear on stage anymore, and that was a complete turnaround from the early Prince.
Matt, there have been plenty of theories and rumours flying around today. Have you heard any more details details about how Prince died?
I don't. I mean, I know as much as anyone else. I mean, we knew that he had the flu. We had this. We were told that the plane was brought down, that he went to an emergency room. He didn't want to stay in the emergency room because he couldn't get a private room. But then last weekend he was throwing a party at Paisley Park and seemingly back to health. But I don't think there was any big warning signs that anything was about to happen. He was a very healthy man. He was a vegan. He didn't drink. He didn't take drugs. So it seemed quite likely that he would live for a very long time.
Matt, you alluded to his sense of fun, but he was a properly funny individual. I mean, from pulling practical jokes on Jay Leno to putting Dave Chappelle on the cover of an album. Is there a particular joke or stunt or something that makes you laugh?
Well, yeah, I mean, there was the one he actually pulled on me because I'd got the sense that he did approve of my biography of him because he invited me to his house to play me a show. But then a few years later, he invited me to a show in New York, and he wandered up while playing Purple Rain on his guitar in the middle of a room of about 60 people and said, Matt, how about that interview? And I said, yes, absolutely, whenever. And he just laughed and ran away. And that was the sort of playfulness that he did. That was his character. That was what was so wonderful about him.
Well, we really appreciate you speaking with us tonight. Thanks, Matt.
No problem.
Yeah, there we go. It is. I really love Prince's sense of humour. Not a lot of people really got to see it. I remember watching Jay Leno one night and he was talking about a practical joke he'd pulled on Jay Leno earlier in the day, and it was just really, really funny. And we spoke about the Dave Chappelle album there, where Dave Chappelle was on the cover of one of his... So Chappelle does a sketch, dresses up as Prince. It's hilarious. Prince sees it, loves it. His next album is this. Let's have a look. So, Until Breakfast Can Wait. And that's real. He put Dave Chappelle on the cover of his own album. Dave Chappelle as him.
You know, I love that so much because all day today I keep reminding myself of the Dr. Zeus quote, don't cry because it's over, smile because it happened.
Yeah.
And that is a great reminder of everything we have to smile about today.
Absolutely. We were saying today, all of us, how fortunate we feel to have grown up in the Prince era because it's such a gift to us musically, hasn't it?
Mate, when I was 11 and I saw him on stage in black underpants and black stiletto boots and nothing else, that blew my mind. That informed my brain, let me tell you. I owe him a great deal.
Oh, the world owes him a great deal. Anyway, we're going to go to a break. We'll have a lot more to say about Prince as well later in the show, but we'll see you on the other side of this.